All right, so let's talk about some big breaking news. President Trump and Iran have officially signed the Memorandum of Understanding, and it's been published. People are talking about it. There are a lot of details to go over. I'm going to summarize it here in this video, but I'm also going to talk about some very interesting things that people have mentioned or looked at, observed from his videos, as well as some other things happening behind the scenes. Very interesting. Let's get into it. Talk about it. So first, here is President Trump's official signing ceremony. You can make an outline of what it looks like, and I'll show you here in a second what that looks like digitally. Here, the president of Iran, Mossad Pezeshkian, and I'm pronouncing that terribly here, posted it on his official X account, and it has all of the 14 points of this memorandum. All major news outlets are also publishing it on their websites. You can look at any one of these, left, right-leaning, doesn't matter. They all have it, and they have published it in its full verbatim here. So to start, this is a 14-point interim MoU, not the final comprehensive agreement. So it immediately stops the war, the operations, and starts reopening the Hormuz and lifting the U.S. naval blockade. It gives Iran immediate oil export waiver, relief, and access to frozen funds, and then sends the hard parts, the nuclear details, sanctions, schedule, reconstruction mechanism, final guarantees, into a maximum 60-day negotiation window. So Iran's official presidency, as I mentioned, posted it. Trump digitally, remotely signed it. This was done, I think, in Versailles, which is crazy. We'll talk about that here in a second. Reuters published it. Everybody published it, and you're seeing it play out. And then quickly, the 14 points, and I'm not going to get into the details of it, but immediately end military operations. Number 2, sovereignty and non-interference. Number 3, 60-day window for final agreement. Number 4, U.S. blockade to end immediately, and this is that naval blockade. Iran. Number 5, reopen safe commercial passage through Hormuz. Number 6, $300 billion reconstruction/economic plan to help. And to clarify, this was with their regional partners in the Gulf. This is not the U.S. helping to fund part of that, as Trump has many times clarified. Number 7, sanctions termination schedule, nuclear weapons, enriched material. That's number 8. Number 9, nuclear/security status quo until final deal. Number 10, immediate U.S. Treasury waivers for Iranian oil/petrochemicals. Number 10, frozen restricted Iranian funds becoming usable. Number 12, implementation monitoring mechanism. Number 13, final negotiations begin only after immediate steps start. And then 14, final deal gets binding UN Security Council backing. So all of that in summary, and there were big paragraphs as I showed you before. This is again to be finalized later, but what they get immediately are war termination, reopening Hormuz, lifting the naval blockade, oil export waivers, and access to frozen funds. And so this happens immediately. They both signed it, and they said it was going to happen Friday, but it happened, seems like a little bit earlier, which is good in a sense. But President Trump has emphasized many times that this is going to be an accountability plan, meaning that if they don't stick to it, President Trump can also just go and bomb them again, and then they'll go right back to kind of where they are. So in some sense, they're trying to push for it. There's a little bit of hardline, hardball, but at the same time, from Iran's perspective, they're trying to look good, trying to sound patriotic and national and strong and all that. So you're seeing a little bit of both, but what's official is that this has been signed. They've posted it, and there is actually an agreement. Now, I want to get into some interesting things that President Trump has said and some other observations that people have talked about. So listen first to what he says here.
So we'll be working on a parallel effort with the Gulf nations to address non-nuclear issues, such as the conventional ballistic missiles, which we'll be talking about, and support. I mean, they have to have some because other people have some. You got to have some. Somebody said, you shouldn't give them one. I mean, I have guys, I like some of these guys, but I don't think they're smart. Sir, you shouldn't let them have any missile. I said, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to let Saudi Arabia have missiles, but they can't have them? Yes, sir. It doesn't work that way, you know? It doesn't work that way. And missiles aren't the problem. They hurt a little location, but they don't blow up the planet. So the Gulf nations will address the non-nuclear issues. As we'll be talking about the ballistic missiles, and we'll talk also about the terrorist proxies that they have, that we don't want that to happen.
Now listen to what he says here. He's saying that he wants to arm and have Iran have missiles, but obviously not nuclear ones. But this is from a self-defense perspective necessary, because why would you strip down an entire country just because you're at war or you hate them or whatever? There's something else happening here. He's literally telling the world right now that it's not about decimating and obliterating Iran, but it's to make sure that there's self-defense, there's localization, there's no this geographic globalization, world powers and all that stuff, and then belittling smaller nations, but thinking about them from a proxy perspective. He's talked a lot about proxy armies, proxy terrorist group. This is about freeing Iran from the grips, from the clutches of this deep state global world order. And Iran here has been used as this sort of boogeyman, as I've talked about, this sort of Middle East bully to keep the grift going in some sense, to have that the Strait, as well as many others, in fear, in check, because they were in bondage. They were kept hostage to do those kinds of things. So this is about returning power to the people of Iran and also the right leadership to step up and then being logical, rational about self-defense for that nation. And VP J.D. Vance also reiterated this point. So listen to what he says here.
Can you help us understand President Trump's shift on his stance for Iran's ballistic missile program? Initially, it was a key objective to dismantle it. Yesterday, he said it would only be fair if they had some, if the countries around Iran also had some. So when and why did that change? And will the final agreement have any restrictions on these missiles?
So we destroyed a substantial number of their ballistic missiles and their ballistic missile launchers themselves. It's not just the bullets, but it's the actual gun. And that's what we were extremely effective at in destroying during the last 3 months of the campaign. All the president said yesterday is that, of course, countries don't give up the right of self-defense. Israel doesn't give up the right of self-defense if Hezbollah fires rockets or drones at Israel. The Iranians don't give up the right of self-defense in their country, but we do expect that as part of the final deal, they are not going to be able to build the kind of missiles that can broadly threaten the entire world. And that's what the President of the United States said yesterday. And look, I mean, it's very simple. You can't tell a country, whether Israel or Iran, they're not allowed to have any self-defense. That's not what the president has asked. That's not what the president has requested. But as part of the final deal, what we want to see is Iran not funding regional instability, funding regional terrorism, and of course, trying to rebuild their nuclear weapons program. That's the main thing. The nuclear weapons program is destroyed. It is gone. If the Iranians decided tomorrow to build a nuclear weapon, they simply don't have the capacity in order to do that. What we're trying to ensure is they don't rebuild that capacity, not just a year from now, 2 years from now, but many, many years from now, so that our children never have to worry about a state sponsor of terrorism having a nuclear weapon.
So listen to what he says here. It's an excellent response to what it means to be rational in the sense of, yes, we have our objective, we met it, we didn't capitulate, but at the same time, look at it objectively. They need to defend themselves once a deep state, everything is cleaned out. Them as a country, as a people group, when the good guys come, they have to have some kind of self-defense. So this is what it comes down to. Now, MJ Truth said this, which is very interesting, that the deal was reached on the 107th day of the Iran war, and the memorandum of understanding was originally scheduled to be signed on June 19th. Check the Q drop, but was instead signed today on the 17th, and then that Q drop being on June 19, 2018 here, 1558, free Iran, fight, 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 regime change, people have the power, we stand with you. And again, he even mentioned that this would happen on Friday, which is on the 19th. So people were anticipating, oh, it's a direct delta and calm to the Q drop, but then it happened right now. And ironically, at Versailles, which was, as this user points out, the Treaty of Versailles was signed 107 years ago. And to that exact date, it would be June 28th, 2026 in 10 days. So they signed it there. He signed it there, which was 107 years ago. I just thought that was an interesting timing observation. And he also notes here that President Trump was literally naming word for word, almost literally reading from the Q drops where he was talking about the story that Q mentioned from post 1948, where he talks about the pallets of cash and how it was used to transport. He's literally reading what this story was.
And Obama wouldn't do it. What Obama did was he did the JCPOA. He loaded up a plane with $1,700,000,000 in green cash from banks all over Washington, Maryland, and Virginia. They were stripped of all their cash. They had no cash to do payrolls. It all went into a Boeing 757, a wonderful plane, and they flew it to Iran, and they gave it out to people. They bribed people. They thought they were going to get it done. Then they gave billions and billions of dollars after that. And they got a deal that was a road to a nuclear weapon. I get so angry, I guess. I'm allowed to get angry when I watch the Democrats. They talk about it all the time. We had this deal done. You had a deal that was going to give them legally a nuclear weapon.
Now, again, listen closely with what President Trump is asserting. He's been saying this for a long time, that President Obama, a lot of the people that were in on the Uranium One and nuclear deal, they armed Iran treasonously with nuclear weapons. And he has to get the nuclear dust. He has to allow this to come out and play out so that the world can see what was going on. So he's saying this where this money was sent over in exchange for the development and all this stuff, arming them. He has to reverse all that. He has to clean all that up, and he's fixing it, and he's showing this, showcasing this to the world. So it's interesting, the developments for what's going on with the peace deal. Let's see what else happens as time progresses here. But just thought it was very interesting, all these updates. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, if you guys want to support me, you guys know we're trying to reach our goal for this month. You guys know I'm listener supported, would love it if you guys can help partner with me financially. All that information is down below in the givesendgo.com link in the description. Also have PayPal, Zelle, Venmo. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.